France they call a wheelchair une chaise roulante. In Germany they call it ein Rollstuhl. In Zimbabwe they call it a chariot. I call mine Buttercup. Welcome to the history of the wheelchair. I love my wheelchair. Now you might think it's strange, someone falling in love with a wheelchair because they all look the same. Not so. They're as different and as diverse as the people who sit in them. My lovely Buttercup is vastly different to the first wheelchair commissioned by King Philip of Spain in 1595. Drop dead ugly compared to my little Buttercup. Sure, it had a backrest and a footrest, but it was basically a reclining chair with teeny weeny little wheels, and it needed a servant to give it a push. 60 years later, another one-off appeared. A paraplegic German watchmaker by the name of Stefan Pfaffer built a self-propelled Rollstuhl. Oh, it's such a pretty language. Now, in 1783, an Englishman, John Dawson, came up with the first commercial wheelchair. Now, because John was from Bath, he called it the Bath chair. It could be pushed or pulled by a horse or a donkey or a team of old-fashioned Uber drivers. Moving on to America and 1865. That was a very big year. It was the end of slavery, it was the end of the Civil War, and sadly, it was the end of Abraham Lincoln. Wheelchairs were needed for injured soldiers. The problem was they were made from wood. That made them difficult to push, especially when servants were thin on the ground after slavery was abolished. So push rims were added and it became much easier. Then in 1900, metal and wire wheels replaced the wooden ones. Still not pretty. I mean, that's a chair only its mother could love. In 1933, America got its first president in a wheelchair, Franklin D. Roosevelt. That's Franklin, that's Teddy. Also in 1933, Everest and Jennings invented the first folding wheelchair. Today's design is similar, but it's not as gorgeous as my blue Buttercup. Back then they were made in any colour as long as it was black. Following World War II, a Canadian, George Klein, invented the first electric wheelchair, also to assist veterans. It was large and ungainly, but it was a chair that a soldier could love. It did the job, and it was the prototype for other inventors. In 1963, Swedish doctor Per Udden came up with this little number, the Permobile. And dare I say, 3 chairs for Per. In 1963, the most popular toys were Ken and Barbie dolls. These days, Ken and Barbie come in wheelchairs. Not because they are pensioner age, it's just part of inclusivity. Today, they have mind-controlled wheelchairs and sporty little wheelchairs that compete in the Olympics. They compete in tennis, basketball, fencing, rugby and athletics. You might have seen the wheelchair athlete in Tokyo with the bruised and battered face. He competed in the hurdles. You see, being in a wheelchair gives you license to make silly jokes about other people in wheelchairs. But that's not the only great thing. Chairs give us freedom and access to the community. We can access cinemas, museums and art galleries. And we get the best parking spots. That's how I fell in love with my little Buttercup, as have thousands and thousands of other wheelchair users. It really is a magnificent invention. Now, Buttercup and I have been together for 10 years. We're almost inseparable, and 10 years, coincidentally, is the aluminium anniversary. What do you think I should get her? Champagne? Chocolates? Don't be silly, she's just a wheelchair. But she's going to take me out for dinner. Hooroo.